Peace. Peace and power to the people of the struggle. Salute, salute, salute. I thank the universal truth and the absolute laws of nature for guiding me, protecting me, and giving me the strength to endure. The imperfect, I shall attack with vigor, making progressive moves. A divine mind knows, a divine mind shows. All things work in divine order. All things work in divine order. All things work in divine order. Peace and power. Salute, salute, salute. Salute, Knife. Salute, Tisha. Damn, Tisha, you know what? You know what? You know what? Salute, T. Salute, son. You know what? You don't miss a beat. You don't miss a beat. You don't miss a beat. And I think you're ready to feed me as well, too. Salute, salute, salute. Salute, salute, salute. Salute. Vanjie, salute, 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 salute. Lou Banger, salute. V Gibb, what up? V Gibb, tell them what day it is, V Gibb, because they ain't, we stretched it a little bit. Tell them what day it is. Todd, salute, salute. Son, peace and power, son. Peace, peace. And everybody that's here, salute. Got another one, too. V Gibb. V Gibb. 309. 309 days sober. 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 So we got two mods in the building. We got two new moderates. We have V Gibb. V Gibb. About to hit 1 year sober. And Tisha. Tisha Dobson. Salute, salute, salute. 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 That's what's up. That's what's up. That's what's up. Virgo. Salute, salute, salute. Oh yeah, the tribe is getting strong. The tribe is getting strong. We're getting deep. We're getting deep. Hush money. Salute. You know what an accomplishment it is to remain sober. Regina Peace. Max. Salute, salute. You know what it is? That's a great accomplishment. That means that every day you make a decision. You make a decision to have everything in line. Everything. You have your plan, you have your thoughts, you have your strategies to remain clean. And that is a battle. That is a battle. You dig? No, they don't. Do all the enders that ask about Bliz on Doggy Channel show up at all? Some do. Some do. We do get a couple of new people every week. And the more I'm on here, again, we are growing. We're almost at 6,000. Hopefully we'll be there, so we can make a significant dent. But again, it's not, for me, it's never about the numbers, right? I'd rather deal with, 10 wolves than 1,000 sheep. And that's for real, So I appreciate mine, because mine are growing. They're not only growing with us. Joel, salute, salute. They're not only growing here, but they're growing in themselves. In themselves and with themselves, and making great gains. And their consciousness is broadening. Their awareness of self, is vastly getting stronger. You dig? And being woke. Being woke. That's the most important thing. And what people don't know, again, I tell you, excuse me, you only get a third of me on social media. I really don't explain the process, but I am scientific with this. This book, the various other books, right? that are going to be discussed here are all stepping stones, all of it. And by the time I'm finished with these titles, with these dialogues and discussions, there's going to be an army. The tribe is going to be an army. And they fangs come out, it's going to be time to eat. So, I mean, I appreciate you rocking with me, but please understand what you're doing. You dig? Please understand what you're doing. Celtics or Miami tonight? Come on, I already started the hashtag. I believe in Tatum. That's the hashtag. Go to my Twitter. I believe in Tatum. Hashtag take 'em Tatum. So it's already there. What will be the next book? We'll find out when we finish this one. We almost finished this book. We got about, because the chapters are getting smaller. This chapter that we're on now is almost, it should be done, and I'm not going to keep you. Definitely not going to keep you because there's a lot going on. It's fight night, playoffs, so we're going to conclude this chapter quick. All right? We're going to, get through this. So, the book is coming to a close, right? We're on 187, and literally it's only about 5 more chapters, and the chapters are brief, but they're intense, right? So we're going to get through it, and there's no telling who or what the next title is, but it is a process. This, as I said previous weeks, this is the stepping stone to your awareness and consciousness because it represents so much. It represents the queen. It represents a very broad spectrum of liberation. Someone who was shot, someone who put in the necessary work, someone who went through their justice system, trial after trial, court show after court show, buffoonery, wrongfully convicted, liberated, and is still putting in the necessary work to this day. Walaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. Okay, for Allah. Alright, so that's why that title is there. Christopher Farmer, Blue, much appreciated. Again, V. Gibson. 309 days. 309 days. Clean and sober. So again, as you come in, like, share. Like, share. Let people know where you at. Let people know that our tribe is strong. All right? Everybody. You dig? Salute, salute. Salute. Yes, Smith. Definitely. The titles, my titles, the All-American Justice System Handbook is out. It's been out. Definitely. For prevention. Right? To make sure that you and your loved ones are not caught up in the justice system. Definitely go get that. The All-American Justice System Handbook. Also, Thug Love Superman, How You, a letter, excuse me, a letter from up north. I don't know what's going on back here. I came back here and all of a sudden, allergy is acting crazy. Come on. We're not going through that. Not tonight. And it was blazing today. Y'all know I don't like heat. I don't like when my ass get to sweating. No, no, no. I don't do that. I don't like that. I'm a cool, calm cat. You dig? You dig? Are those the next two books? Oh no, no, CC. No, no. No, no. No, no. No, no, those are not. Mm. My books, if anything, will be the last titles that we will go over. But I am, again, doing, what day is it? Tuesday? We're doing, we're reading from my title, from Thug Love Superman. That's Tuesday mornings, right? All right, Tuesday mornings. So if you don't order the title, we giving you the audio right here. We giving you the audio right here. Amazon. T in the chat. Somebody let them know where they get the titles. Because a lot of people already have both titles. All right. And again, when we are ordering those titles, do know that the support I receive on this end is minimal. I have never, ever, and I've ran with a lot of uh, self-published black authors, and I've never seen anybody uh, with a check from Amazon or one of them. So it's strictly just to uh, broaden my people's horizons on the situations. All right. So let's get to it tonight. Again, share, share, share. You're welcome to screen record all your devices, man. If you have a podcast and you feel like taking this audio and doing what you're gonna do with it, do with it. I don't um, own this information. We're just vessels of truth for those who come behind us. All right. So let's get in it, because this we've been on this chapter for the last 3 weeks. That's how quick time moves, you know, and how long this chapter is. So let's conclude this chapter. All right. This just started, so excuse me. I don't know what's going on. I was fine all day. So what is back here? You dig? What's going on? I know I was chilling for most of the day. You see how smooth, even in the heat, I find a hoodie. See see the silky hoodie? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Mm. Yeah. I'm telling you, I'm nice. I'm not the one for the bullshit. For the heat and sweating and all that. Nah, T, see this? This is silky. This is nice. It's a nice hoodie. Hold on. See that? Nice. 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 Well, thank you. Real Stunner Brown. Thank you. You dig? You ain't sweating. If you sweating, it ain't because of my hoodie. Baby, you paying too much attention to the brown skin that's all smooth. It ain't the hoodie, because you ain't got the hoodie on. You sweating. Calm down. Maybe it's that, the guns. I don't know what's going on. Maybe because the traps are sitting up a little bit. I don't know what it is, but it ain't the hoodie. Domo domo, salute, salute. Salute, salute. Yeah, it might be the melanin. I don't know. I don't know. But let's get out of this chapter so people can enjoy the playoff game. uh, um, or get ready for the fight. Some people like watching all the pre-fights. Huh? Happy birthday to the King of New York. Yes. Happy birthday to Christopher Biggie Smalls, Notorious Big Wallace. Salute. 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 Salute to Big. Definitely. Definitely salute to Big. You know? But I heard people was acting very, very strange trying to get those Biggie Metro cards. So if you go on screen record this. At no point should brothers, men, attempt to harm women, spit on, curse out, disrespect in the course of them trying to pick up some memorabilia. When we come amongst each other, it is always and you know, hopefully that, you know, the sisters are acting accordingly, but it is always a soldier's position, right, to have the most civility, you dig, when it comes to doing anything uh, when women are around. Make sure you check that, right? Yeah, yeah, definitely. People want that them trips to Chilligan's Islands. We'll do that on Instagram, Mask and Gloves. Yeah, because that's all they do. They front, you know? That's what they doing. And I'm tired of seeing it. You know, if people wasn't going anywhere pre-pandemic like that. You know? They really wasn't. Now they getting the cereal box, you know, cereal box trips. All right? Cereal box give you some good damn trips, Gina. Yeah, that's what they doing. You know? But yeah, they were wilding last night. I'm getting reports that some, brothers, doing just, I mean, it's disrespectful. Nobody should ever spit on nobody, especially during COVID. Especially during COVID. You dig? What's good? What's good, Ronald? We getting ready to do book club. We engaged. We ready. You know, this is not like anybody other book club. You know what happened, Chocolate? They had these memorabilia Metro cards in New York City that they, were giving out with Biggie's image on it overnight last night. And the lines were long, and of course, people were, impatient, getting beside themselves, and attitudes were triggered. And, like I said, I was hearing brothers, they got the fighting and fighting on each other, fighting on women, spitting on women. It just got real, you know, remedial and ignorant. Stefan, salute, salute. Big Ma, salute, salute. So, that's what it was. But let's get to it. Like I said, I know y'all want to get to the fights. I know y'all want to get to the playoff games and all that. So we're not going to have a long, drawn-out book club tonight. And again, I had a very good build earlier this week with one of the brothers from the ATL. All right. And we're going to start doing a little bit more of that on IG. You got your book today in the mail? That's right. Okay. That's what we talking about. Okay, so we're on 186. We're going to conclude this chapter. Salute, Rebel, salute. We're going to conclude this chapter tonight, At first, the Golden Drum Society concentrated its efforts on black culture and history. But after a while, we started to examine our role as students. We didn't want to be tape recorders recording whatever information, facts, lies they gave us, and then playing them all back during examinations. We began to talk about an education that was relevant to us as Black people, that we could take back to our communities. We didn't want to learn Latin or classical Greek. We wanted to learn things that we could use to help free our people. One of our first struggles centered on student government. Most of us were from working class or poor families, and we wanted a student government that was responsive to what we needed. We didn't need a student government that was brown nosing the administration in return for favors and good grades. We wanted a student government that supported a Black studies program, more Black faculty members, and other Black causes. As a result, the Golden Drum Society and the Students for Democratic Society ran a joint ticket and won by a landslide. It soon became evident that having control of the student government wasn't enough. It had no real power. We would pass resolutions and come up with proposals which the administration would promptly deny. The only power we had was over the student government budget. Instead of inviting reactionary scholars or politicians to speak, we invited the Young Lords, the Black Panther Party, or some other group who was saying something relevant. Peace, peace, peace. Big J, salute, salute. Much appreciated for the chat donation. Tottenham is in effect. Make sure you share, make sure you let all of the UK know where your tribe is and what we do on Saturday nights. Let them know. This is an education process. They teach us, we teach them. We believe in each other. So salute to our comrades across the water. Primo, what's good? What's good? All right? So this is important. Like T, see? What you just sent me today in my DM speaking on, right? The young lords. See? Everything back then, all type of political activity was moving in cohesion. Why? Because the conditions and the circumstances that we were under force you to move in parallel, force you to move in unison. Today, we don't have those same exact conditions because of the strategies that our oppressors have put in place to separate so many and lull others to sleep. So, on the face and in depth, because we are woke, we are conscious, we know that the conditions and the institutions are there. Same ones that's been there for the longest. However, their strategies and what they're utilizing uh, causes us to have to work harder to articulate exactly what's going on. We're on 186. One of our proposals was for students to work during the summer in remedial programs to improve the level of kids who had trouble with reading and math. Hey, Weezy. Our idea was to have a few kids assigned to each student teacher. In that way, each one would receive the individual attention he or she needed. The academic curriculum was to be supplemented with courses that would enhance the students' sense of self-worth and give them more of a sense of their history. Student teachers would work with parents, visit the kids' homes, and create a kind of day camp by offering sports, trips, crafts, etc. Several of the black faculty members helped us with the proposal. As soon as it was submitted, it was rejected. Maserati, salute. Curtis, salute. All right? The administration claimed there was no money. A small investigation into finances, aided by some concerned black and white faculty members, revealed that the president of the college was living in a house rent-free, that taxpayers was also providing him with chauffeur and maid services, and that student fees, which had not been spent in previous years, were being invested on the stock market. A rather strange financial picture was emerging. After we made some of our investigation results known to the administration, we were informed that the money for the project had been found. As a student teacher, I taught reading and math in the morning and arts and crafts in the afternoon. The morning classes were tiny, while the afternoon classes were larger, combining various morning groups. The curriculum included Black history, dancing, and drumming, physical education, arts and crafts, in addition to reading and math. There was an excursion every Friday afternoon. My mother taught, my mother thought my teaching, reading, and writing was a joke. My spelling is terrible, and my skills in mathematics are limited to 2 and 2 equals 4. To prepare myself for the day's lesson, I had to study just as hard as the kids. My students shocked the hell out of me. Through conversation, it was obvious just how bright they were. Yet they scored way below their grade levels in reading and math. There was such a big contradiction between the intelligence they exhibited in class and their test scores that I didn't know where to begin. The books we had to work with were Reader's Digest like textbooks that I couldn't even imagine using. I didn't even want to read those, and I knew sure as hell that my students wouldn't want to use them. So every day I took the vocabulary out of those books and wrote a little story, something I thought students would find interesting. Typed it on a stencil and ran it off. I brought all kinds of books to school for them to read. As long as they found the books interesting, those students would read until the cows came home. I was learning just as much as the kids. I found it oppressive playing teacher all the time, so every day I rotated the thing around. Everybody got to be teacher for a while. It was also great for discipline, since if somebody acted up in your class, you were free to act up in theirs. Nobody wanted people to act up in their class, so everyone was more or less cool, which is basically communal education. All right? Yeah, that's deep. These are practices that a lot of schools are doing right now. All right? Well, most, you know, where they allow and they change the seating and all that. Not like how we were so rigid, sitting at the desk, sitting right up, straight up, and all that. A lot of them educate on the floor right now. A lot of them allow the students who are more advanced and picking up the comprehension of the lessons earlier and having them sit with those who are remedial learners. You understand? And that's a practice that's been going on for quite a while, which helps them. So, you know, when we came up, they actually had different classes, right? The first martyrs, the highly gifted, right? SP classes. The first smartest, second smartest, third, all the way down to the sixth, right, which was the last in the grade. So you had sixth grade classes in an elementary school, and those who were just behavioral issues off the charts, they was all in one class, and that wasn't working because those were usually the ones who would drop out probably by middle school, definitely by high school, and into a life of crime. They got the notion to stop doing it like that and start putting people, right, in classrooms together and allowing the students to teach each other. You dig? Yes, sir. Joseph, yes, sir. Yes, sir. We're still on Assata. Yes, sir. All right? In order to teach, each one of us had to prepare our lesson and know what we were talking about. All right? One of the boys in the class worked so hard on his lessons that he would just lay me out. I don't know where he is now or what he's doing, but if he isn't a teacher, it's a damn shame because he would have been a great one. He would cut out pictures and even make up math games for us to play. And it's always like that. You know, every time I do the knowledge to, you know, what just transpired in one of the projects in East New York, and I was mentoring these young men in class and how bright they were, you know, how lively they were, and they would just give them to us because um, we're actually on page 188, Joseph. Salute, Fleetwood. You know, it was like these young dudes were so intelligent, but they threw them to us because we was the outside mentoring program coming into the school. So we would come in twice a week, 3 times a week, sometime based on the principal's ask for. And they were so sharp. Why, you know, well, I know why they weren't doing the best. Salute, Mike Larry, what up? I know why they weren't doing the best because they were with educators or teachers who didn't give a damn about them, right? So I would get them, and you know, we were very strict classroom setting that we would use because we let them know we're not teachers. You know, we was firm and assertive. You curse, you act crazy, you doing push-ups. You disrespectful, you getting down. We treated them like low men. And you know, they couldn't wait for us to come in the buildings and then, you know, would shock them because not only were we in schools, but we were in the street. So they would be in the school with us majority of the morning or the afternoon, and they see us at night in the streets, walking through the projects, patrolling, you know, talking, um, making sure their older brothers and cousins wasn't out busting their guns and stuff. So you know, it was work that you just couldn't describe. You know, rewarding it isn't even a proper word for it. But you know, recently, 4 or 5 of them that I worked with hands on was caught up in this indictment. Um, so many of them got swept up in it, but all type of charges. And I'm like, damn, these little dudes, man, they had so much promise and potential, but the institutions wasn't there, and they just went left. You know, it went left, and that you know, that bothers me a lot, a lot. So I'm, you know, very serious about what I do, how much I engage with the people, um, being accessible, you know, because even in that work, you know, we've lost some. It was times that I could tell you where we would speak to a group or individual for 2 or 3 hours, just encouraging them, make better decisions, pull out of the street, this, that, and the third, and walk away, and 10, 20 minutes later come back, they got shot, brains out, right there in the spot where we was just speaking to them. It's just, you know, to get someone to view themselves different, to believe in themselves, um, it's a daunting task, man. It's something that, you know, you can be consistent, but you have to search not only for the right words, but for the example, and have them walk and manifest that belief in self, because they're up against a lot. All of us are up against a lot, and the mental attacks, the images, it's heavy. It's heavy, so you have to remain diligent, and that's what book club is always about. It's about really understanding the text that you are reading, and having individuals who you can ask about should you not understand, right? We dialogue back and forth. You don't have to wait till Saturday. You DM, hit each other up, excuse me, and get deep into it, because it's not just a book. You dig? This is not a book. This is medicine. These are meds. This is medicine. And it's healing. But you have to take the time to dig in deep, to comprehend, to read, and then allow your mind to process it. I'm telling you, when you can conceptualize, when you can see yourself differently, the path is easy to walk. It's easy. Because you open up, you start to see the patterns. You start to view the enemy, and you start seeing the negative or the regressive behaviors and characters about yourself. You can see the old you. You can view it. But you got to dig in. You have to dig in. You dig? All right, so definitely salute to everybody that's just joining. Hey, Nick, peace and power. Again, we know what it is tonight. So we're just going to run through. We're going to close the chapter out. We're going to allow people to do what they do. It's hot. So a lot of people still out running around in them streets doing what they usually do. You got people that's having fight parties. It's understandable. I know how they move with the gladiator sport. You got people watching the playoffs, especially up there in Boston. You see, we're a brown girl from Boston. See, she probably sitting there right there in front of the damn TV looking at Jason Tatum or nah, she probably looking at my boy Jaylen Brown. She like him brown, so she probably just, got her little cup of lemonade just sitting there, cause she sure ain't here. You dig? Copeland, what's up? What's up? You dig? So let's do what we do. All right. My class in the afternoon was usually exhausting. Clay, paint, paper mache over everything and everyone, especially me. You dig? Especially me. The first days, the first days of that class, I wanted to do nothing but go somewhere and have a good cry. On the first day of the arts and crafts class, I had nothing really prepared, so I asked everyone to draw themselves. When I looked at the drawings, I felt faint. All of the students were black, yet the drawings depicted a lot of blonde-haired, blue-eyed little white children. I was horrified. I went home and ransacked every magazine I could find with pictures of black people. I came in early the next day and plastered the walls with pictures of black people. We talked about what was beautiful. We talked about all the different kinds of beauty in the world and about all the different kinds of flowers in the world. And then we talked about the different kinds of beauty that people have and about the beauty of black people. We talked about our lips and our noses. We made African masks out of clay and paper mache, made African sculptures, painted pictures of black people, of black neighborhoods. Over the summer, I felt the classroom changing. The kids were changing, and so was I. We were feeling good about ourselves and feeling good about being with each other. All right? I was so involved in working at the school that I had time for little else. If one of the students didn't come to school, I was at his or her house that very day wanting to know why. I would go home and spend hours rewriting some story or preparing for the next day. Half the time, my mother would find me asleep with a book in my hand, with a book in my hands, and all the lights on. I love working with the kids, and I love teaching. My mother helped me quite a lot, and we grew closer than we had ever been before. I thought about becoming a teacher, but decided against it. For the first time, I became aware of what my mother had been going through all those years trying to teach in New York schools. Most of these principals are caught up in bureaucracy, and they force the teachers to be caught up in it too. They care more about what the teachers have written in their plan books than what they are actually teaching in the class. My mother was working in an environment where white teachers often showed a hostile, condescending attitude toward black children, and where some teachers thought of themselves as zookeepers rather than teachers. As much as I loved working with kids, I knew that I could never participate in the Board of Education kind of teaching. I wasn't teaching no black children to say the Pledge of Allegiance or to think George Washington was great or any other such bullshit. Mm-mm-mm. See what I'm saying? Hmm. What has changed? I can tell you right now that I see black principals, both male and female, that still do that to this day. I would bust y'all brains if I were to tell you who one of our elders is right now who has a son that's a principal in New York City DOE. And shameful how he conducts himself around black children. Shameful. I'm telling you, it will bust your brain, but I'm not going to blow him up like that. South National, thank you. You dig what I'm telling you? Bust your brain, and this is one of our elders, one of our scholars, one of our intellectuals. Serious. That fall, The level of activity on campus surpassed anything that we had dreamed of. Large numbers of students became involved in the anti-war movement. It seemed that there was no time to catch up with all of the things that were happening. I would be at the construction workers demonstration one day and then marching with the welfare mothers the next. We got down with everything: rent strikes, sit-ins, the takeover of the Harlem State Office building, whatever it was. If we agreed with it, we would try to give support in some way. The more active I became, the more I liked it. It was like medicine, making me well, making me whole. I was home. For the first time, my life felt like it had some real meaning. Everywhere I turned, black people were struggling. Puerto Ricans were struggling. It was beautiful. I love black people. I don't care what they're doing. But when black people are struggling, that's when they are the most beautiful to me. Mm, mm, mm. Mm, mm, mm. Welcome to struggle. Welcome to struggle. Keep saying it. Keep saying it. You feel alive. You find your purpose. Welcome to struggle. You dig? As usual, I was speeding. My energy just couldn't stop dancing. I was caught up in the music of the struggle, and I wanted to dance. I was never bored and never lonely. And the brothers and sisters who became my friends were so beautiful to me. I would mention their names, but the way things are today, I'd only be sending the FBI or the CIA to their doors. All right? Kind of remind you of social media, huh? She wouldn't even write it in the book back then. So it should alert you when people speak so freely on social media. Just a little jewel. Just a little jewel. Some of our tribe members need to remain on the low. All right? Thank you, Thomas Shans, for the Cash App. Salute. There were a lot of communist groups on campus. I had no idea at the time that there were so many different kinds of communists and socialists. I had been so brainwashed that I thought that all communists were the same, that there were Marxists, Leninists, Maoists, Trotskyites, etc. Most of the so-called communists I met weren't in any party at all, but just related to the philosophy of communism. Most follow very different political lines and policies, and it was difficult for them to sit down and agree on the time of day, much less hatch up some communist plot. I was surprised to learn that there were all different types of capitalist countries and different types of communist countries. I had learned, I had heard communist bloc and behind the Iron Curtain so much in the media that I had naturally formed the impression that these countries were all the same. Although they are all socialists, East Germany, Bulgaria, Cuba, and North Korea are as different as night and day. All of them have different histories, different cultures, and different ways of applying the socialist theory, although they have the same economic and similar political systems. It has never ceased to amaze me how so many people can be tricked into hating people who have never any harm, who have never done them any harm. You simply mention the word communist, and a lot of these red, white, and blue fools are ready to kill. Yes, Tisha, we shall see you, Tisha. Yes, yes. Much appreciated, Queen. Definitely, definitely. All right. I wasn't against communism, but I can't say I was for it either. At first, I viewed it suspiciously as some kind of white man's concoction until I read works by African revolutionaries and studied the African liberation movements. Revolutionaries in Africa understood that the question of African liberation was not just a question of race, that even if they managed to get rid of the white colonialists, right? If they didn't rid themselves of the capitalistic economic structure, the white colonialists would simply be replaced by black neo-colonialists. There was a lot, right? Y'all getting that? I'm telling you, it gets deep. And we can elaborate on these terms, right? In different builds. But when we get into the later books that we introduce, when we get into the Kwame Nkrumah, when we get into the Patrice Lumumba, when we get into all these other theories and practices and philosophies, it'll get crystal clear, it'll get much more solid for you in your comprehension, because you have to, which is why I'm such a stickler, right? To get rid of the ideas of materialism and capitalism and stuff. I mean, it's automatic response. Brian Rader, salute to the MC. Lay Hornet, salute. You understand? Again, I'm gonna read it again so you can get and understand it. All right? I wasn't against communism, but I can't say I was for it either. At first, I viewed it suspiciously as some kind of white man's concoction until I read works by African revolutionaries and studied the African liberation movements. Revolutionaries in Africa understood that the question of African liberation was not just a question of race, that even if they managed to get rid of the white colonialists, if they didn't rid themselves of the capitalistic economic structure, the white colonialists would simply be replaced by black neo-colonialists. All right? There was not a single liberation movement in Africa that was not fighting for socialism. In fact, there was not a single liberation movement in the whole world that was fighting for capitalism. The whole thing boiled down to a simple equation. Anything that has any kind of value is made, mined, grown, produced, and processed by working people. So why wouldn't working people collectively own that wealth? Why shouldn't working people own and control their own resources? Capitalism meant that rich businessmen owned the wealth, while socialism meant that the people who made the wealth owned it. Okay? Simple, plain as day. As I always tell you, own your labor. Never allow a man, an institution, a structure to tell you your value. Do you understand? So I don't care if you're making 100 million. If somebody's telling you that's how much you're worth, well, out of that 100 million they're giving you, they're making $1 billion. You are working a slave wager. All right? No one should have that much authority over you. The value, the price does not matter. You dig? I got into heated arguments with sisters or brothers who claimed that the oppression of black people was only a question of race. I argued that there were black oppressors as well as white ones. That's why you've got blacks who support Nixon or Reagan or other conservatives. That's why there are blacks who support Biden, Trump. That is why there are blacks who will push all of these so-called wealthy Negroes in your face as leaders. You dig? The bag is poison. The bag is poison. That's why you've got blacks who support Nixon or Reagan or other conservatives. Black folks with money have always tended to support candidates who they believe would protect their financial interests. As far as I was concerned, it didn't take too much brains to figure out that black people are oppressed because of class as well as race, because we are poor and because we are black. It would burn me up every time somebody talked about black people climbing the ladder of success. Anytime you're talking about a ladder, you're talking about a top and a bottom, an upper class and a lower class, a rich class and a poor class. As long as you got a system with a top and a bottom, black people are always going to wind up at the bottom because we're the easiest to discriminate against. That's why I couldn't see fighting within the system. Both the Democratic Party and the Republican Party are controlled by millionaires. They are interested in holding on to their power, while I was interested in taking it away. They were interested in supporting fascist dictatorships in South and Central America, while I wanted to see them overthrown. They were interested in supporting racist fascist regimes in Africa, while I was interested in seeing them overthrown. They were interested in defeating the Viet Cong, and I was interested in seeing them win their liberation. A poster of the massacre at My Lai, picturing women and children lying clumped together in a heap, their bodies riddled with bullets, hung on my wall as a daily reminder of the brutality in the world. Divine being salute. Hmm? Hmm? Alright? Get it? Salute, salute. Kelton, salute. Hmm? Same letters. Alright? Manhattan Community College had not one course on Puerto Rican history. The Puerto Rican sisters and brothers who knew what was happening became our teachers. I had hung out all my life with Puerto Ricans, and I didn't even know Puerto Rico was a colony. They told us for a long and valiant struggle. They told us of the long and valiant struggle against the first Spanish colonizers, and then later against the U.S. government, and about their revolutionary heroes, the Puerto Rican Five: Lolita Lebron, Rafael Miranda, Andres Cordero, Irving Flores, and Oscar Collazo, each of whom has spent more than a quarter of a century behind bars fighting for the independence of Puerto Rico. Once you understand something about the history of a people, their heroes, their hardships, and their sacrifices, it's easier to struggle with them, to support them, right? Or to support their struggle. For a lot of people in this country, people who live in other places have no faces. And this is the way the US government wants it to be. They figure that as long as the people have no faces and the country has no form, Americans will not protest when they send in the Marines to wipe them out. Just like they did in Iraq, just like they do in Iran, just like they did in Libya, just like they doing now in Sierra Leone and in Ethiopia and in Honduras and what they did in Grenada. Same rules. And in Panama and in Brazil. And I can go on and on. Again, and you need to look these people up, research them, and study them. All right? Lolita Lebron, who is home, by the way. Rafael Miranda, Andres Cordero, Irving Flores, and Oscar Collazo. All right? I had begun to think of myself as a socialist, but I could not in any way see myself joining any of the socialist groups I came in contact with. I loved to listen to them, learn from them, and argue with them. But there is no way in the world I could see myself becoming a member. For one thing, I could not stand, right, the condescending, paternalistic attitudes of some of the white people in those groups. Some of the older members thought that because they had been in the struggle for socialism for a long time, they knew all the answers to the problems of black people and all the aspects of the black liberation struggle. I couldn't relate to the idea of the great white father on earth any more than I could relate to the great white father up in the sky. I was willing and ready to learn everything I could from them, but I damn sure was not ready to accept them as leaders of the black liberation struggle. A few thought that they had a monopoly on Marx and acted like the only experts in the world on socialism came from Europe. In many instances, they downgraded the theoretical and practical contributions of third world revolutionaries like Fidel Castro, Ho Chi Minh, Agostino Neto, and other leaders of liberation movements in the third world. Another thing that went against my grain was the arrogance and dogmatism I encountered in some of the groups. A member of one of the groups told me that if I was really concerned about the black liberation or about the liberation of black people, I should quit school and get a job in a factory. That if I wanted to get rid of the system, I would have to work at a factory and organize the workers. When I asked him why he wasn't working in the factory and organizing the workers, he told me that he was staying in school in order to organize the students. I told him I was working to organize the students too, and that I felt perfectly certain that the workers could organize themselves without any college students doing it for them. Some of these groups would come up with abstract intellectual theories totally devoid of practical application and swear that they had the answers to the problems of the world. They attacked the Vietnamese for participating in the Paris peace talks, claiming that by negotiating the Viet Cong were selling out to the U.S. I think they got insulted when I asked them how a group of flabby white boys who couldn't fight their way out of a paper bag had the nerve to think that they could tell the Vietnamese people how to run their show. Arrogance was one of the key factors that kept the white left so factionalized. And it's the same left that they talk about here when they talk about independent parties, right? Liberal Democrats and shit like that. It's the same principles that they have, the same beliefs when they talk about gentrification and being, on boards, right? Where these people, like my son and Tamika Mallory, get their funding from, who lock arm in arm with these same type of left thinking people that they're coming to save black people, as if you don't have the intelligence to think for yourself, as if you don't know exactly who they are and where they can run off to when shit get thick, just because of the color of their skin. All right? This left will be mindful of the language when you start hearing it. Arrogance was one of the key factors that kept the white left so factionalized. I felt that instead of fighting together against a common enemy, they wasted time quarreling with each other about who had the right line. Although I respected the work and political positions of many groups on the left, I felt it was necessary for black people to come together to organize our own structures and our own revolutionary political party. Friendship is based on respect. As long as much of the white left saw their role as organizing, educating, recruiting, and directing black revolutionaries, I could not see how any real friendship could occur. I felt and still feel that it is necessary for black revolutionaries to come together, analyze our history, our present condition, and to define ourselves and our struggle. Black self determination is a basic right. And if we do not have the right to determine our destinies, then who does? I believe that to gain our liberation, we must come from the position of power and unity, and that a black revolutionary party led by black revolutionary leaders is essential. I believe in uniting with white revolutionaries to fight against the common enemy, but I was convinced that it had to be on the basis of power and unity rather than from weakness and unity at any cost. Now get that? You get that? And as always, she concludes this chapter with a poem. To my mama. To my mama, who has swallowed the American dream and choked on it. To my mama, whose dreams have fought each other and died. Who sees but cannot bear to see a volcano eating its own lava. To my mama, who couldn't turn hell into paradise and blamed herself. Who has always seen reflected in her mirror an ugly duckling. To my mama, who makes no demands of anyone because she don't think she can afford to, who thinks her money talks louder than her womanhood. To my butch femme mama, who has always taken care of business, who has never drifted hazily to sleep thinking he will take care of it, who has schemed so much she sometimes schemes against herself. To my sweet shy mama, who is uneasy with people because she don't know how to be phony and is afraid to be real, who has longed for sculpted gardens whose potted plant dies slowly on a windowsill. We have all been infected with a sickness, that can be traced back to the auction block. You must not feel guilty for what has been done to us. Only the strong go crazy. The weak just get along. And what I thought was cruelty, I understand was fear that hands stronger than yours and whiter than yours would strangle my young life into oblivion. Mama, I am proud of you. I look at you and see the strength of our people. I've seen you struggle in the dark. The world beating you on your back, dragging your catch back to our den, pulling your pots and pans out to cook it. A mop in one hand, a pencil in the other, marking up my homework with your love. The injured have no blame. Let it fall on those who injure. Leave the past behind where it belongs and come with me toward tomorrow. I love you, Mommy, because you are beautiful. And I am life that springs from you. Part tree, part weed, part flower. My roots run deep. I have been nourished well. And that is the end of that chapter. Oh, man. And it only gets deeper. We shall be back next week with chapter 13. So I hope you all had your dose. I hope you all had your dose. Come on now. Come on now. Danny Devon, salute, salute. Come on now. This is where we at with it. This is where we at with it. So, again, we want to salute to our comrade, V. Gibb, Vincent Gibson V. Gibb, 309 days sober and clean. We want to salute Tisha for getting her wrench. And I'm wondering if y'all know that other people on YouTube actually sell these little wrenches. I'm like, the audacity. Rizzo, what up? The audacity selling some virtual wrench to be part of something. I'm like, wow, that shit is absurd. But that is the mind of these demonic ass capitalistic bastards. Oh yeah, you did hear that, Kelly Mills. They sell these wrenches. Quite a few of them. If you donate enough to the platform, they sell it. So yeah, again, all peace and power to people that struggle. We will win. As I always tell you, don't believe in me. Believe in my belief in you. So I'm going to do some more research on some things. Maybe on Instagram later to start some shit. As always, I love my people. Don't believe in me, believe in my belief in you. You dig? Alright? Don't get caught up on this. Y'all stop getting caught up on that right there. Alright? Stop getting caught up on that. They not nowhere as big as they used to be. The traps ain't sitting up like they used to. It's getting there. Trust and believe. Time summer coming. It's time to take off all these things. You'll see the traps up high and all that looking real nice. It ain't there yet. Alright? It ain't there yet. But it'll be there, and don't lose your damn mind, sister comrades. It ain't hot here. I'm alright. And it's a silky. Alright? Silky. Cut it out. You ain't going to bed. We can go on Instagram or Clubhouse or something. So salute. This is what's hot, these damn lights. Right? Like I'm in Hollywood. Buddy love. You ain't going to bed. I'm telling you, I'm going to take my trip. I'm going to spend a weekend in Jersey. Your ass going to stay up for 48 hours. Trust that. You ain't going to sleep at all. Keep you up all night. And damn it, watching the news and all type of other stuff. So yeah. So salute, y'all. See you soon.